Am I the asshole for calling out my mother-in-law and telling her she is not Native American? Okay, for context, my wife and her mother really could pass as part Native American. They have dark brown hair, almond eyes and high cheekbones. They are white but hold a tan real well, and they both tan, often giving them a darker complexion. When my wife and I met, she told me she was part Cherokee, and I honestly believed her because she could for sure pass the part look-wise. She's been asking me for years to get DNA kits so we could learn more about our heritage. I was always told I was mainly white and part Mexican. My wife was always told she was 10–20% Native American and white. We ordered some DNA test about 2 years ago. My DNA test came back how I expected it to. I am mainly Irish, German, French, and about 10% Mexican. My wife's DNA test comes back and it says she is 99.9% European, mostly Irish. At first we both thought this was a mistake, so we ordered 23andMe DNA test to get more in-depth results. So we ordered the more expensive test and I get the same results, and lo and behold, so does my wife. My wife is 99.9% colonizer. Lol. My wife got really upset because her family has told them for generations they're part Cherokee and their ancestor is Nancy Ward. Given these test results, it's impossible for that to be true. My mother-in-law is the type of woman to post on Facebook a lot, and of course she always makes posts about how she is Indian and her ancestor is Nancy Ward. I find it very annoying now that I know it isn't true. I was talking to my mother-in-law the other day about the DNA test results and how she needs to take one so she can see for herself she's not Native American, and of course she gets really mad at me. She tells me she knows who her people are and doesn't need a DNA test to confirm it. I'm all about being proud of who you are, but it also pisses me off to see people claim to be something they aren't. I told my wife I wanted to get her a DNA test for Christmas. My wife tells me no, that it's only going to piss her off and I need to drop it, but honestly it irks the hell out of me to see her mother constantly talk about her Indian heritage and claiming to be an oppressed group of people when she isn't. So I'm just curious, am I the asshole for calling out my mother-in-law? I really want to get her a 23andMe for Christmas, but my wife thinks I should just drop it. As someone with Native American ancestry but not part of a tribe due to no treaty, I don't get all these YTA comments. I personally think you're not the asshole because these people are exhausting. Why WBTA just because you're doing it to stick it to your mill? Lol. That being said, maybe you should do some research on DNA tests. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think they are reliable for American Indian ancestry. My mother is one half Cherokee, her father was born on the reservation, and my mom, aunts, uncles were born in Oklahoma. My cousins did ancestry DNA and no one showed up as American Indian. I honestly don't remember the exact reason they gave. My wife is 99.9% colonizer. You are the asshole just for this stupid language. Everyone sucks here. This comes across as sanctimonious and unnecessarily petty to be WU mill. You ethnic percentages on DNA tests are not the best way to determine if someone has Native American heritage. Are you aware that full siblings can have very different percentages? I mean, have you never met full siblings who have different color hair, eyes, skin tone, etc.? Her heritage is being part of the tribe. So membership, familiarity with the culture, knowledge and understanding of beliefs, being a tribal member helps, too. It sounds like your wife has none of those. You know, Nancy Ward's second husband was Irish. They had a daughter, named Elizabeth Ward. Maybe try doing genealogy search for your wife's family before passing judgment. 1% other could be Cherokee and Lenape, especially after 300-ish years. Am I the asshole for not giving up the interest on my settlement? Married 23 years. Divorce was final 3 weeks later. My 67F ex, 67M, died in a car accident. He was supposed to get a loan and buy me out. Since he had not done that yet, the whole thing goes to probate. My lawyer put a part in the divorce that after 60 days, 9% interest would start being charged. Obviously probate has drug on and on. My stepson is requesting that I forgo the interest. I took $70,000 less than I should have gotten in the divorce. I feel like I've already given a lot and I'm not heading into retirement with a very big nest egg. I'm not angry, nor do I want to take advantage of anyone. But it's been 9 months and it doesn't look like anything has been done to get the property ready to sell. I really don't want to be an asshole, but I don't want to be taken advantage of. Not the asshole. Your lawyer put the interest in there for a reason. It's incentive to sell the property. Smart thinking on your lawyer's part. Do not forego it. Without it, you'll never get paid what's due you. Not the asshole. Your divorce lawyer put in that clause to make sure that either the house would be gotten market ready and sold efficiently, or to protect your interests if it wasn't sold in a reasonable time frame. Your husband, and by extension your stepson, already got more than his share of your marital property. Not the asshole. Stepson, your father agreed to these terms. I'm not going to go against advice I paid my lawyer to give me. The terms your father and I agreed to will remain in effect. Please don't contact me about changing them again. I won't respond to any further requests. I had to read this twice to understand that you meant that probate has dragged on, and that your stepson has asked you to forego enforcing the interest clause. Not the asshole for requiring that the estate abide by the terms that X agreed to with full knowledge of the consequences and upon legal advice. I don't think you're being an asshole. You've already given up a lot, and you're entitled to what's rightfully yours, especially since things have been delayed. It's not about being spiteful, just fair. Not the asshole. Don't give up the interest. Am I the asshole for telling my nil off while she was trying to correct my wife's parenting on the phone? I'm sure all of us parents out here have had the unsolicited parenting advice or criticism from many people. We all love it, right? No, my mother-in-law is notorious for giving advice when it's not solicited. My wife will never stand up to her mom and will end up breaking down after the call in my arms. I have heard it enough times where I am starting to speak up. They talk almost every day on the phone, which is great. Where I draw the line is mother-in-law has her marriage, we have ours. Don't get into business that you don't want anyone getting into of yours. Mother-in-law loves to make comments on what we are doing wrong, or what she did, in cases where it's not asked for and not wanted. This morning Thry were FaceTiming and she was critical of my wife not being stern enough with our daughter. I heard it but was trying to keep the peace and was doing something, so I kept quiet. Minutes later, with me in the room, she mentioned that we need to get her on a schedule, and that we are $ing her up. We have a schedule, it's the weekend, we spent 30 minutes in bed with our daughter on a Sunday. Really $ing her up, right? While they were FaceTiming, our daughter was hungry and a little fussy, so that's where the comment came in. I lost it then. I said out loud, if I wouldn't have known, we're babysitting her child. I didn't know she had another kid. To my wife's bewilderment and her jaw down, she couldn't believe I said that. All I heard from their FaceTime is, I had to go, click, as she scowled at my wife. Wife isn't upset at me cause she knows her mom was in the wrong but said I was an asshole. Am I the asshole for essentially telling my mother-in-law she is too involved in our child's upbringing? Summarized. Side note, my wife just had a conversation with her brother this week and they talked about how FUP their childhood was. Both reflected and agreed their parents did a lot they should have and messed them up. After mother-in-law hung up, I said in a manner referencing her conversation, if she did such a bad job raising y'all, why am I going to listen to her with our child? Wife just laughed and said, yay, I know. Not the asshole. It sounds like your wife has been so gaslit by her mom that she won't stand up for herself. Of course, you get to hear the results of her mother's non-stop criticism, which is unfair to both of you. The solution, if there is one, is for your wife to tell her mother that, whenever starts criticizing your child rearing practices, your wife, will end the conversation right then and there. From then on, the moment mother-in-law says anything other than how wonderful her grandchild is, your wife just ends the call same as mother-in-law did when you spoke up. Good luck with that though. Your wife can't be mad at you for protecting your child. She's probably still just kind of scared or subservient to her mother, and that's what's holding her back, because obviously she agrees her mom isn't the best parent. Not the asshole. Pushing back hard on a busybody is always okay. You mother-in-law needed a reality check. Not the asshole. It is tough to learn to stand up to your abusive parents. They raised her and installed all the emotional buttons, and they know just how to push them. How does brother-in-law enforce boundaries with Mill? Maybe your wife would feel more courageous if she followed his lead. Or, the least confrontational, attack, response would be, Mom, I know you are trying to help, but if I want your help raising my kids I will ask. If I don't ask, then please don't criticize our parenting. Repeat as needed, then hang up. Not the asshole. You didn't go nuclear. You just stated something, and the fact that she took offense to it shows she knows what she's doing. She just didn't expect to get called out on it. Not the asshole. If she wants to be a doormat with her own life, that is fine, but I wouldn't stay quiet going forward when it comes to your child. Good for you, as someone needs to stand up to her and be a good parent. People are pathetic. Making excuses like that is how they are. Then be an adult and stand up to her and stop using that excuse. Am I the asshole because I told my wife I don't want to loan money to family? Long story short, my wife and I have been together for about years. Her family hasn't made good decisions when it comes to money. I don't mean to judge people, and I say live your life your way. Several months ago her mom came to us asking to borrow $1,000. My wife and I talked it over. I told her I don't like to loan money to family as it usually led to bad feelings. It's her mom, and I know it was hurting her that her mom had to ask us for money. So we decided the money was a gift and we didn't want the money back. 2 months later she needs another $600. I am pretty annoyed at that point. This is the slippery slope. After much back and forth we said okay, but this was a loan and she would start paying $200 a month starting in October. My wife and I agreed this was the last time we would pay out. Fast forward to last Tuesday. I get home and my wife says her mom is in a panic and that they will be evicted from their lot if they don't come up with $1,600 by today. That's in addition to the $1,600 we had already give. I said I was sorry and that I would help come up with some ideas, but I told my wife I was no longer willing to loan or give out money as it obviously isn't fixing her mom's financial issues. Am I being unfair by putting my foot down and saying enough is enough and we cannot be responsible? We are saving for our down payment on a home. I know it's her mom, but I feel if we don't set these boundaries it will end up damaging my relationship with my wife. I'm no saint or a victim, so please don't read it that way. We all make mistakes and get into tough spots. That said, my first responsibility is to our family unit. Me, my wife, and 2 kids. Looking for some feedback, thanks. Not the asshole. Her mother obviously has some type of problem with not being able to manage her finances or similar. She needs to sit down with her mother and try to get to the root of the problem as to why she is in this financially difficult place. Lending, more and more and more, just keeps putting a band-aid on the problem, instead of fixing it. I would not loan another dollar until you find out exactly what is going on with her continued shortage of money. Not the asshole. Did they make the October payment? And what was the $1,600 previously for? Not the asshole. And you guys are not a bank. Every time you give or loan them money, you are enabling them to continue to do such behavior. It hurts to see people struggle, especially the ones you love, but if you don't put your foot down now they will only drag you and your wife down with them. Family is the worst to do business with, and they are definitely the worst to lend money to. That is why I do not discuss anything about my salary or the amount of money I make with any of my family members, because I know there would be lining up outside my door with their hands out. Good luck, op. And I hope your wife sees and understands that continuing this behavior is only going to lead to more requests for money. You put it in your foot down now is not a bad thing. Not the asshole. The term you're looking for is throwing good money after bad. Without further info, you'd just be enabling MIL's awful money management decisions. How did she get into this spot? What plans does she have to avoid having this happen again? As long as you are acting as her no-strings-attached ATM, she has little or no incentive to change. You already said that the most recent money you gave her was the last. If you backslide on this, you will get no respect and no limit on MIL's needs for more money. She's an adult and gets to make decisions about how she handles her money. She also gets to live with the consequences of her decisions. Not the asshole. What on earth are they doing that they're that far behind on their rent? Whatever. Your wife is being used and will continue to be used if she lets them, because family. I hope she stays true at communication, and possibly you don't have a joint savings account, because this can become real messy really quickly. There's a story on here where a dude's girlfriend gave her sister like $50K, and while I don't think your wife might go that far, it's a slippery slope. Not the asshole. You've helped her generously and she's coming back for more. You're not your in-law's bank.